Hello everyone and welcome to Greg's Garage, a power sports lifestyle show. And we bring you around the world of power sports in an informative and hopefully entertaining way. And one thing we love to do on this show is to connect you with some of the sport's best athletes. And this time, we welcome three-time AMA Superbike champ back to the show. It's Josh Hayes. What's going on, Hayes? How are you?
I'm good, buddy. How are you doing? How's the show going?
The show's going good. Thanks for asking, man. Really appreciate it. It's good to have you back. Now, I know you're a busy man right now. You're out in Las Vegas doing some stuff. We got a lot to talk about, okay? So first of all, let's get right down to brass tacks. You're the favorite for the Superbike Championship in 2014. Is there any kind of pressure to get that #1 plate back?
I don't know. I actually think there was probably more pressure having the #1 plate on the bike. So, you know, that was a pretty big target. It's not there anymore, but I still won a lot of races, more than anybody else that's going to be racing in the class this year. But Yamaha's brought along another young, talented teammate, Cameron Bobier, who I think is going to be very fast. Going to be a few other guys, Martin Cardenas. He was getting faster as the year went on, and they brought on a new teammate with him, with Roger Hayden, keeping him in the game. Roger and I have battled for some championships before, so it's still leading up to be a pretty exciting season, I think.
So Josh, 5 events on the calendar, 10 races total. Does this put extra pressure on the rider themselves to not make a mistake?
I think it does. They're not changing, I don't believe, the point system, other than taking away the bonus points that we used to get for laps led and bonus point for pole. But, you know, it's still, I think, going to work in my favor a bit. I'm riding the machine that I'm really familiar with. I've raced to, 3 championships and 2 other years with the bike. And several of these race weekends are now going to be condensed to a 2-day format. And we're going to race on the very first day that we show up and practice. So I have a lot of information, and I'm going to be able to get up to speed quickly. And I think it might play in my favor a little bit.
When you look around the paddock, obviously the #1 plate has departed and gone to World Racing. We've seen some other U.S. racers head off to British Superbike. How does that affect what's going on in the U.S. in terms of what do you think the response is from the race fan and also internally in the paddock, watching some of these racers depart?
I don't want to badmouth motorcycle racing in the U.S. because I love it. It's my sport and I love it. But it's a good question and one that I struggle with because, the fans a lot of times are looking to me for the answers to find out what's going on with our series, and it's even difficult for me to know. So, things are definitely looking to be a step down from what they have been in previous years. But hopefully the quality of the racing on the track still keeps the core fan involved, because what's going on at the racetrack is still pretty good. We have good racers and we have good racing. So it's really the only thing that I feel like I have right now, and I'm going to focus on doing that job well.
Let's talk about your wife. She's off to Europe to race. How do you feel that's going to affect your program? Tell us about Melissa and what's happening with her, and then how do you feel it's going to affect you?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. My wife's one of the defectors. Melissa, just, she's a pretty awesome woman. It started with her going over to do an FIM women's kind of track awareness, track day thing and some coaching. And she made some friends, and they had some pretty big interest in an opportunity for her. So she was able to put it together. She's going to get to do a ton of riding. She's still going to do some riding here in the U.S. She'll be doing the Daytona 200 this year. And so it is going to be a difficult thing. It's going to be definitely a test, another test in our marriage. We've been through some rough things before. Melissa broke her leg, and 20 minutes later, I had to go race Matt Mladen at one of the last races of the season in 2009. It wasn't an easy thing. I raced against her in the Daytona 200. It wasn't an easy thing as a factory rider. And so this is going to be another one. And, she's a tough girl. She knows what she's getting into. And she's going to have to figure out how to get around Spain a little bit on her own, I think. So I'm going to go with her when I can. But I still got to bring home the bacon, so I'll be here trying to get work done.
All right, Josh, thank you so much for joining us on Greg's Garage. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks for having me.
Well, that's all the time we have on this one. If you're watching us on our YouTube channel, well, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We can use everybody. And we post exclusive content there from time to time. Now you can follow us on Facebook. It's facebook.com/Greg'sGarageTV. On Instagram at Greg's Garage. You can follow me on Twitter. It's at Greg White. And for all the shows and stories we've done, simply Greg'sGarageTV.com. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time right here on Greg's Garage.